Algebra 8, we are going to do section 5.2, ratios, rates, and unit rates. So sometimes people can feel overwhelmed because there's a lot of word problems, but you get to use a calculator, and I'm just going to show you how to pay attention to what the question's asking, and that sometimes helps us figure out what order and what we have to do things. So letter A, in these three we're finding unit rates, and a unit rate is always per one. So how many words can she type per minute? So we have 120 words that Mickey can type, and I think labeling is really helpful per 3 minutes. So we want to know how many she can type per 1 minute. The way to find the unit rate is you just divide the top by the bottom. So 120 divided by 3 gives us 40 words per minute. Per one. So unit rate, you just divide the top by the bottom. Okay. Letter B, it says on a family vacation, Tim and his family traveled 1,800 miles in 3 days. How many miles do they travel per day? So we want to know miles per day. So we would take that 1,800 miles, divide it by the 3 days. Some of you guys can probably do this in your head, but that means that they would travel 600 miles per 1 day. Okay, so they ask us what they want us to divide in the order. Jeff can type 30 words in half a minute. How many words can he type in 1 minute? Like I said, sometimes you guys might be able to figure these out, but I'm going to show you how we can still do this with just regular division. Half a minute, so that'd be 0.5 minutes. So we want to know how many per one, so 30 divided by 0.5, and that's going to give you 60. Like I said, I'm sure some of you probably figure that one out without a calculator. Okay. So how to apply this? Note, density is measured in units of mass per unit of volume, therefore it is a unit rate. Okay, so density equals m divided by v. That's what you have there. So what is the density of silver? So we're looking for density. We have to put the mass on the top, so it has a mass of 41,960 kilograms. So sometimes it's not given in order. And then the volume is the 4 cubic meters, how much room something takes up. Okay, so we're going to take 41960 and divide it by 4. And I end up with 10,490 kilogram per meter cubed. So sometimes, like, it didn't tell you that the volume was this, and you might not be familiar with that, but it did tell us what the mass was, so that helps. So again, this one's looking for density. Guess what? They tell you that the volume is 0.5 cubic meters, but they do not tell you the mass. So you're going to assume that the volume is on the bottom, or you know that. And then the mass is the, even if you don't know much about mass and volume, 1350. Usually they tell you something, a little clue that helps you. Okay, so the density is 2,700 kilograms per cubic meter. Okay, so talking about travel. The rate is distance divided by time. So the ratio of the distance traveled to time is how you find the speed. So they give you this little formula. So a Vans tour bus is traveling 525 miles from Charlotte, North Carolina to Orlando, Florida. The first 5 hours of the trip, the bus traveled 260 miles. What is its average speed? So rate, remember, is distance divided by time. So our distance was 260 miles. Our time was 5 hours. So 260 divided by 5 gives us 52 miles per hour. Not very fast. The next part of the question says the driver estimates that the entire trip will take 8 hours. If the bus driver keeps traveling at the same average speed, is the driver's estimate reasonable, and explain. So a couple different things. We know that they have to travel 525 miles. So traveling at this speed, we could figure that out. Or we can multiply 52 by 8 and see if they make it that far. So I'll do both ways. 52 miles per hour times 8 hours, because that's how long they think it's going to take. So that only gets you equals 416 miles. So you would have to explain that if for 8 hours at that speed would only get you 416, and they want to travel 525. The other way to do it is that you could take that 525 divided by the 52 miles per hour. So 525 divided by 52, and you get 10.1 basically. That means that at that speed, it would take you 10 hours to get that far. So no, they are not going to make it. And then I would want you guys to explain how. Then the last type of problem that we have in this section is unit prices. Unit price is always dollars per unit or cents per unit. So if we are comparing which is a better buy, Arnie can buy a 16 ounce for this or a 20 ounce for this. You take your dollars, $5.49 divided by 16, $5.99 divided by 20. 549 divided by 16, and 343. I'm going to give us a couple decimal places just in case. Divided by 20. Okay, so if I rounded this, this one is 34 cents an ounce. And if I rounded this one, it's 30 cents an ounce. So what is the better buy? The 20 ounce. Okay, not always the bigger one, but in this case it was. Again, we've got a 15 ounce jar for $2.19 or 20 for $2.78. So you take your money, $2.19 divided by 15. I like to label so I know what I was dividing and multiplying. So 2.19 divided by 15 gives me 0.146. If this was rounded, it would be 15 cents per ounce. And then 2.78 divided by 20 is 0.139, which when rounded gives you to 14. That's where rounding is pretty important, because if you rounded wrong, you might be off. So on this one, the 15 ounce jar was the better deal. Oh, no, what am I thinking? The 14 is less than, duh, silly me. Just seeing if you guys are on your toes. So yes, cheaper is the better buy.